Well, the show's called The Herd. I just shovel all the bad stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. Of course. Exactly right. Go ahead.
So I said to myself, I don't get the Jets. So, yes, they have a defense that'll keep them in games, and the schedule early is pretty workable. Mm-hmm. But Nathaniel Hackett's still there, coach in the hot seat. An offensive line, old or too young. Josh Allen is still the best player in the conference. Belichick's gone, but Mike McDaniel's probably the best coach in the conference. And the last time Aaron played for a season, he had a 91 passer rating in a weaker conference. Yet DraftKings has them as a favorite in 14 of their 17 games. I think they're an 8-9 team.
I didn't know that number. All right, so listen, yeah, I didn't know that they were favored in 14 of their 17 games. That is, now I understand that some of that has to do with the fact that of where the games are.
Yeah.
But they should not be a favorite in Pittsburgh. I'm just looking at it right now. They should not be a favorite at home against Houston. Looking at that right now. I mean, like, hold on. How many times is Big Bob Saleh a road favorite? He's a favorite in Jacksonville? Give me a break. Okay, all right. I understand. You know, we don't. You talk gambling with a lot of folks, and you know, you and I kind of moonlight with.
Let's take a look at this real fast. I'm gonna let the clip play, but let's take a look at this real fast. Tennessee Titans, no problem with that. Patriots, no problem with that. Broncos, I think that's going to be an interesting game. I think a lot of it is going to depend on, is Bo Nix starting? Has he hit the ground running? Does he have immediate momentum? But you have to give the edge for sure for the Broncos because that defense is going to be good. And if Aaron Rodgers is legitimately healthy and playing, you're gonna take that. Minnesota, right? Again, it's kind of similar situation. Is JJ McCarthy going to be playing? What's going on with that? The Bills, I got the Bills. But again, you know, who knows? The Steelers, I got I got the Jets for that. Patriots, again, no. The Texans, again, I think that's more one of those favorites where it's more like a coin flip, right? Someone has to be the favorite. I think it's going to depend on what do the Texans look like. Have they gotten a hot start? Is Diggs happy? Has he been integrated to that offense? I'm very high on the Texans as well. So I think that'll be kind of a good game. I think 3 is probably too much. I think that's one of those games where it can maybe be like 1 or something. I believe them over the Cardinals. The Colts, to me, are a big question mark because I really think Shane Steichen is going to do great things with their young quarterback, and it depends on, is he actually healthy? Has he got momentum going? But again, if you have to go with a team, you're going to go lean towards Jets because if they're actually healthy and playing well, then they should be able to beat that game. Seattle, I got them over Seattle. Miami, see, it's funny now they're not favored against Miami. That's like a fascinating thing to me because I got the Jets over Miami. The Jaguars, you know, -1. Again, when we start talking about -1, when we talk about that favorite, that ends up just being like an absolute coin flip. Seriously. LA Rams, I'm just not seeing, nothing's like glaringly obvious to me right now as I'm looking at it. I mean, I don't see anything where I'm just like, well, that's insane. That's ridiculous. If the Jets are healthy, and Aaron Rodgers has made a recovery, they should be a great team. They just should be. Their defense was great. They were able to somewhat survive and literally almost beat the Kansas City Chiefs, who won the Super Bowl. So with Aaron Rodgers, if he's healthy, is going to be a great quarterback this season. There's no doubt in my mind. So a lot of people are sleeping on the Jets.
With it together, but we usually have our separate kind of gambling chats, if you will. But we can make some money fading the Jets here. So let's go through the reasons.
Okay, let's do it.
They are so many of their off-season moves are operating under the assumption of, well, if we have perfect health, which it's the NFL, that is a faulty assumption to make. With that said, I understand why they took the risks they did on the offensive linemen with an injury history because they had to upgrade there. And Joe Douglas, who had one amazing draft, and aside from that has been trying to rebuild that offensive line for a half decade and hasn't been able to do it, even though the first thing he said when he got there was he's going to remake the offensive line. So they're trying that. Okay, fine. Rodgers, the point that you're making is one that I think everyone has overlooked, which is forget the Achilles. The last season we saw him play, he was good, okay, better than average, but not great. It's not as if he was coming off his best football and then...
This is so dumb. I'm sick of this narrative. 1, he was not 100% healthy. 2, he was no longer happy in Green Bay, so he was somewhat checked out. We've seen all great players do this, whether it's other quarterbacks, whether it's other just players in general, whether it's basketball, LeBron James. Like, we've seen this again and again and again, especially with these big-time, larger-than-life athletes. I'm not saying it's right, but they all do it. They all do it. They all check out to a degree when they know they're leaving or they're unhappy or they believe that their team is not good enough to win a championship. Then it's kind of like, well, I've been doing this for so long. I know what a championship roster looks like. We don't got it. I'm only going to work so hard at this. And again, I'm not saying it's the best attitude, but we've seen all professional athletes do this. All of them. So all great ones. So most great ones. Maybe I shouldn't say all. Many great ones. But so I think that's absurd. And again, he wasn't fully healthy. He was playing with young players that, again, a lot of these veterans, these truly established star veterans, don't like to play with young players. Tom Brady does not like to play with young players. Even Patrick Mahomes is starting to have trouble with some of these younger up-and-coming players. LeBron James does not want to play with young players. Steph Curry does not want to play with young players. We see this again and again and again. They ship out the young guys and say, give me veterans, give me older veterans. I don't care. It's better for me I have a better chance at winning and getting along with older, slower veterans than these younger, faster, first year, second, third year players because they are immature. They don't know what it takes. And I don't got time to deal with that. That was Aaron Rodgers last year in Green Bay. So enough with that nonsense. Stop acting like that's uniquely Aaron Rodgers. We've seen it again and again and again with none other than Tom Brady. So just stop it. It's nonsense.
Tore his Achilles. He was coming off his worst football. And then, folks, whenever I bring up Rodgers, they're like, oh, Nick, you just don't like him because of the things he says. Take my opinion of the things he says out of it. If you were talking to a guy who did your taxes and the guy was like, by the way, I've got some thoughts on Tarantia and mud floods, you'd be like, oh, I don't think I can trust you. If you went to a car dealer and the guy who was trying to sell you the EV you just leased was like, listen, let me tell you, want to argue about Dr. Fauci some? You'd be like, can I get somebody else? I don't think this guy's focused on my gas mileage. So, no, I don't know if Aaron's going to be.
Okay, so kick off your kicker. Get your kicker off the team because he made controversial comments that a lot of people are unhappy with. And Rashee Rice almost unalived someone, a child, caused a big car crash that could have been awful, awful, awful. I don't trust that guy. Get him off the team. According to Nick Wright, get him off. I don't trust it. I would not hire a painter or a carpenter who was racing and caused a massive car crash and then fled the scene. I don't want that. I don't want that guy painting my house or whatever. So his argument is nonsense. It's just nonsense. He's like, people want to say that I feel this way because of what I'm saying, because of what he's saying, but that's not true. Here's an example of why when people say things, you shouldn't like them. It's like you don't even realize that he just confirmed what other people were saying about him. That didn't prove his argument correctly. It proved everyone else correctly, quite honestly.
Be fully locked in on everything he needs. And then you get to the coaching part of it, which is, I don't believe in quarterback wins. I do believe in coach wins because that is their record, is their coaching record. Robert Saleh's got one of the bottom 10 records of any coach to coach this many games in modern NFL history. They don't like the offensive coordinator so much. They tried to replace him in the shadows, couldn't get that done, and then it leaks that they tried to replace Hackett, and now he's still there. So do I think the Jets in the AFC are a playoff team? Of course not. Do I think they should be favored on the road against anyone but New England? No. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Well, the last point I'll say is it's just funny because that Jets team who had the worst offense and an awful quarterback almost beat the Chiefs and probably should have. If you remember, there was a very questionable call, very questionable, that everyone went, everyone put on their tinfoil hat and made it a whole Taylor Swift conspiracy theory type thing. But Nick Wright is scared that if the Jets are healthy and Aaron Rodgers is healthy, that they will be a formidable foe. Because they will be. Their defense is legit. Nick Wright knows firsthand what it's like to have a team win a Super Bowl because of a defensive-led team. That was what the Kansas City Chiefs were this last season. So now you throw Aaron Rodgers in there, and Aaron Rodgers is more than capable. Enough of this nonsense that Aaron Rodgers is just a bum and washed. Even if he's just a good quarterback, he's like 5 times better than whatever the heck Zach Wilson was doing. And that alone is worth another 3-4 wins, which would make the Jets a playoff team, which would have had the Jets beat a team like Kansas City Chiefs, who indeed did win the Super Bowl. It's that simple. It really is. We don't have to make it any more complicated than that. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.